I know you're like, Tanya, you fell off. Are those the same gloves you used to do stuff in the basement? Yes, they are. I'm not going to touch things. It's not that time yet, right, with my bare hands. No calluses and no contagion. Thank you. But, hair is up and comfortable. We just have just a regular bra on, and these leggings, the ones that were supposed to be butt enhancing. Lord knows there's plenty, but we're trying to take a moment. I'm thinking about something that I am writing, and my energy level is good. I had a coffee with some coconut milk and half and half, one vanilla scone from Trader Joe's, and that's after, I had a little bit of a British breakfast, right? It was accidentally lentils and rice, but with kidney beans and one andouille sausage, and then a boiled egg, random. When I was in Germany for a conference once, I kind of got into eating a boiled egg with breakfast. Just one, right? In the old days, I used to scramble 2 or 3. It's just not necessary, right? One of the things that we love on set is the breakfast sandwich, right? Where they make a kind of thin film of scrambled egg and then fold it around avocado, bacon, lettuce, tomato. The best is sourdough. You can't get that. Wheat is okay, but when that bacon and egg are so crisp and that buttery avocado, everything's warm on a cold morning, and you didn't have to cook it. Those are the fond memories from set. Will we ever go back? Who can say? But we're making adjustments. The person who was always wrong, telling me there's not going to be a strike, there's not going to be a strike. He didn't offer any other theories about, we probably won't work until next year. So, we have to embrace this moment, make something of the time. It doesn't help to freak out and do things that are destructive. I'm definitely guilty of having, enough to do where even now I could have, done my makeup on a live and it felt like this is important. I'm going to go live and do my makeup. But, I gotta practice what I preach. It's not like I'm not active. I did do a little bit of lifting, but not my whole routine. I kind of felt like I wanted to get out and get back before it got too late. A little half-hour elliptical, a little half-hour treadmill, maybe some weighted carry if I feel up to it. Not going too hard in the paint, but getting it done so we can get in bed and get to our church volunteering tomorrow. But I feel really inspired by a couple of projects that I'm, working on for other people. It just isn't like a traditional payment structure, right? They'll pay you when people play your game. They'll pay you when, you write a 40,000 word novel. And that, stepping outside the union world, I was telling my friend who's in one of the other unions, it's just so weird that people really feel entitled to a month of your time and concentration, all that labor, and they want to pay you a couple $100. We know that is not the cost of labor, but I am wondering, is it child labor? Is it people who, live off the grid? Who is doing this work? I'm sure it's fun and imaginative and all of that, but it's apparently a very competitive space. But, you know, I feel like it's all part of the journey to, you know, monetize the good work that you do, right? You can do it, you can sit in your room. You can do it, you can post it, on Vocal and Medium and all of that stuff. You can do it in class. You can do it and write a book. A lot of my friends are self-publishing. You know, I think writing is an amazing thing for self-expression, but also to share ideas, whether it's for TV, poetry, stage, or even just your social media. You can kind of discipline yourself to try to have something worthy to say. I continue to be, what's the nice word, amused by the people who actually make posts where they're pouting at people. Oh, well, I have 1,000 followers. This is for the 2 people that like it. Well, you know, maybe experiment with making something that someone will like, or look at it as your social media practice. Not everything is going to hit, but it is quite something to have the time and opportunity to be consistent about it. And it may not be that for me or anyone else, but, you know, I look back on my earlier posts and how the audio and the lighting, even the lighting now, is not ideal, but I debated, oh, do I just go to the gym and, like, you know, listen to music or watch something? But I figured, you know, I should share the journey and really check in about where I am with my fitness. I never stopped resistance training, but I just didn't make the time, have the time for, you know, the hour of cardio and lifting. It's not like I was doing other stuff, but I have been really concentrating on educating myself about things that I'm doing, things that I want to do, things that I want to, you know, take advantage of this time to do, right? I feel encouraged, but there's a lot of uncertainty. You know, there's definitely, you know, been some stories in the news about people who are celebrities who are dealing with stalkers, and I think we all have people like that in our circle. Years go by, they change their names. Years go by, they create accounts in the names of their children. Years go by, oh, there you are again. It's an anagram of your name. Do you need me to say that I'm tired of you? But then I think of she was 7. And I remember the powerful wisdom of if you want to get rid of a man in particular, but I think it also works for women, ask them for money. That's it. That's the trick. All that, you know, long blacklist, you know, who can say, right? There's something on other apps where you might mutually follow someone and then they unfollow you but private their account so you can't unfollow them. There's not many of them. I just do wonder who they are, why, you know, why this is. And, you know, I do feel a rush of excitement when 1 or 2 of them unprivate themselves and then I can unfollow, because, you know, if you're not interested in me or what I have to say or do, that's fine, but, you know, why trap me into I'm stuck with you throwing off my account? If I'm following this many and only these many are following me back, I can see very clearly a number. And I had no idea what that was until recently. You know, once you kind of like, whether it's escapist or whether it's smart, once you start looking at your analytics, it really does teach you a lot, right? Whether it's time of day posting or what you post about, or being on camera versus not being on camera. I listen with interest to the people who say, don't use your real name when you post. There's a lot of, very negative energy in the space of, and I definitely have had to like nip some situations in the bud. Like, people get very territorial if they post about a certain topic that's in the news. Then they come into your comments saying things like, oh, well, you're just trying to get likes and views. It's like, well, what are you doing? Right? Like, okay, thanks, block. Like, it's such a relief just to say, let me just put these people to the side. I'm not gonna keep reading their comments and getting irritated or bickering. Sometimes you will get 100 comments worth, literally, of a troll who's, very intent on trying to get to you. But you have to take the engagement and, if it feels right, give them a little dose of medicine. I won't say what the most effective comments I come up with are, but I have to say it's satisfying to see people in the middle of the night, after I've responded with my clever remark, remove their own comments. That's when I know I've struck a nerve. But I'm not going around trying to do that. I'm trying to bring value, find, material that's interesting or funny to me, post it, get that done. It's like flossing your teeth. Like, get it done, go on with life. Meet with this person, can't make their outing, chit chat with them, just check in. You can't assume that even the check-in people have necessarily good motives, but that's life, right? You handle it. You handle it. You're like a vehicle with shock absorbers. You absorb the shocks, and then you keep it moving, right? Not to get bogged down in it or worry about it too much, but it's like you're still looking at the road ahead. You're still thinking about, wow, let me work out, because there's no way I'm going to work out in the morning before I go. I will, see if I feel up to get Liz dictating a draft of something. And then I was thinking, for this purpose, should I just take an existing project and reinvent it as the sort of work product in question? Or can I just, submit as is? I don't think that there's a loss to submitting as is, but I've been looking into the format of this, and I kind of do want to, make some original stuff, because it's a very simple format, and then I can have, new samples in that direction. Whereas, sometimes if you're interested in something, your smartphone will tell you things like take a class, spend some money that, striking workers don't have, when you could simply Google the subject matter. And it's delightful that people who know that world better, I can't say yet whether they are looking to sell an app, but I was really excited to kind of, it's sort of like research before an interview. You want to kind of know what you're dealing with, how to talk about it in a knowledgeable way. Like, I know a lot, but in as much as I have some groovy things on my resume, I don't particularly know that. And that has been what's been attractive to me about getting involved in these kind of labor but not really a salary endeavors, in lieu of, doing nothing. I'd rather do that and have it on my resume to help me springboard to the next thing. Again, I was thinking from some people's optimism, certain actors, I was like, oh, the party's going to be over this week. Back to, work. Have I been able to sort of transform the pieces of my work life? Have I been able to create a side job that is lucrative and that I enjoy, that kind of builds towards something? I was a casino dealer for a while as like a side gig, but this kind of ended my appetite for doing it. I have a friend who deals the World Series of Poker. He was kind of telling me, like, we were on a hospital show recently, and he was like, oh yeah, go down there, you get a really cheap hotel room, you get paid X to deal for like 14 hours, and it's like, that sounds unpleasant. I can't say that I enjoy driving to Vegas. Like, Vegas is fun, but to go down there, eat in buffets and all that, I just don't know if that's like how I'm looking to do it, right? But we'll see. We're like fishermen. We'll cast a net and see what we kind of are able to reel in. We'll see if, the directions that we have interest in are interested in us, because then that would, stabilize things as we figure out, this particular kind of union work. I found it really educational for writers and actors to talk about their fees and their residuals when they are in these very desirable jobs. And you feel like if you can do that kind of work for similar compensation with stability, that you're not missing out on, what can be very challenging, a very challenging way to go. Like, a lot of people do really well at it, but I thought people were very candid about, it doesn't matter how much experience they have, they're still getting the same rate as other people who just started. It doesn't matter how much expertise they have. If they don't have a higher title, they don't have an opportunity to even be present to learn more. And, the whole kind of sense of getting cheated because of 6-episode seasons and 8-episode seasons. You're grateful for the episodes, but it's not the kind of, it's not the same as being on a 13 or 22 episode series. I didn't really have a grasp of all those differences, just having, worked in kids and unscripted and kind of like variety shows, even as a producer. So, it's definitely been educational. It's difficult right now to hear people say that the DGA and the WGA, is what people are saying, caved on key points that SAG-AFTRA isn't caving on so far, right? Like, people made a deal, they were like, oh, let's get back to work, but we're not back to work. Is that good? Is it bad? Is it going to pay off in the long run? Hard to say. But, here we are for, however you can describe it philosophically. We're in the mix, and we're not giving up. We're not succumbing to any addiction except carbs. right? And even then you're like, oh, let me be reasonable. Let me think about my A1C. Let me think about, you know, adding activity, but also sleeping well and eating fiber. There's definitely been some lapses. Adding a little multivitamin, adding fresh citrus, and just being thoughtful about not just, you know, eating junk food. I finally left pizza alone, fell back in love with sushi. I've been, you know, whipping out the serious carving knives and cutting up entire poultry. That's been a lot of hard work, but worth it. You know, I kind of lost my cooking technique being at work and being cooked for so much. I ended up making things a little too salty, just losing track of how many different spices had salt in them. Like, it sounds great, lemon pepper, but if that's a dose of salt as well, you'd be better off zesting a lemon or searching to see if you have unsalted lemon pepper. I have tried those, is it Diamond brand ground nut coatings instead of breadcrumbs because it's keto, but it gives you so much oil, and even with an egg and milk or egg and heavy cream wash, there's no grip, so your nut crumbs end up in your pan. I think the solution is to blend the nuts and the traditional breadcrumb together. What's distressing is that a lot of the breadcrumbs have 45 ingredients. No, I'm not going to make my own breadcrumbs from scratch. No, I'm not doing it. But, you know, that's been enjoyable. I find when I put citrus out on the counter, that makes me cut it in half and squeeze it in water more than if I leave it in the fridge, right? I have a spaghetti squash, some russet potatoes, a few onions, some fennel that I need to figure out something with. I've been messing with leeks. As you know, I got a, what is that thing? Chamoya? Is that what it's called? That green thing that tastes kind of like an apple and cucumber. Is that what it's called? I think so. I have some tomatillos that I have to Google to see how you eat them, because they're hard as rocks, covered in these leaves. What do? Fry them like a fried green tomato? Is it a tomato? Is tomatillo something else? I really couldn't tell you. But I have to tell you that in California, there's something called nopales. Like, people eat the leaves of, I'm sure it's not all cactuses, but certain cactuses, and they make like powder out of it. I don't know exactly what it delivers, but you see it in all the grocery stores, and it's a head scratcher. I've never been given it in a salad, or never had a sample of it. So let me know if you've had it. They do have videos on the Clock app where people, you know, take the big leaf of cactus and then scrape all the sharp parts off and collect it to eat it, because I'm sure there's water in it, like here in the desert, but I can't really say I've ever read what kind of nutrient value is involved, or kind of where it fits. Is it a breakfast food? Is it a side dish? Is it something to put in your salad? I don't think you cook it, but apparently you can chip it up, dry it, maybe put it in a smoothie. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll make an effort to vlog what it looks like, what you can buy it like in the store, because it kind of makes you scratch your head. You're like, wow. It's like, you know, when you're in California, but I'm sure in New York as well, when you get like Mexican food, there's all of a sudden radishes. And I feel like radishes are something I don't really encounter except as like a garnish. Like I'm never like, let me buy this bag of radishes. It is something that, is it jicama? Jicama and sliced up radishes and lime are usually handed to you as condiments or side dishes for your late night outdoor taco spot meals. And it's very nice, but I don't really know. I don't know what the radish delivers. I don't know what is that what it's called? Chamoya? No. What's it called? It's green. I showed it to you. I have one that's sprouting, and I did wash it, and I nibbled it, and it was pleasant. I just didn't like want it. It's more like, oh, I have this. What's it taste like? Oh, okay. Like, you're not craving it. It's like, I'm more inclined to wash and eat a cucumber without slicing it, just to say I should eat this cucumber, than the relatively unfamiliar taste of that thing. I think I've had it sliced either in salad or sandwiches, and it wasn't jarring. You know, like a radish can taste either spicy hot or like spicy hot dirt in a way that it's not like a taste sensation. You're not like, wow, let me stock up on these. Let me make sure this is the centerpiece of the Christmas get down. No, you're kind of like, ooh, nature has provided these vegetables. Let me eat them. But yeah, look at me, getting it done. If this is all I do, then it's more than I did yesterday. You know, maybe I walked around yesterday. Maybe I did some resistance training yesterday, but you know, I used to look forward to working out kind of like as a pre-shower, like let me go do this so I can shower, and then not a day has been like, oh, I'm so bored. I'm not busy. There's nothing to research or watch. I never feel like I'm just idly watching whatever kind of media or reading stuff. I feel like it has a purpose to it, even if it's just to relax while I clean up or try to organize stuff. You know, I don't think any of us know what is going to happen. Is this going to resolve by Thanksgiving or Christmas, or is it just going to be, you know, just kind of an ugly fourth quarter, winter, and then holidays, and all this like labor and international unrest, which is unfortunate, you know, but it would be great if there could be negotiations, but you know, might makes right, or whoever has the most marbles figures they should win, right? So, you know, we're just going to observe what happens, keep our head on straight, try to cut back on naughty foods and increase good foods, cut back on naughty thoughts, right? I can definitely carry on at length, not in a bad way, but, you know, to analyze how some people in Hollywood attempt to lead me astray. You know, if I keep explaining to you, like, it's not a priority for me to plan hangouts or go to bars or concerts, that should be enough. Oh, I'll just pick you up and I'll bring you back. It's like, I don't have the time or energy. If I went and did that, I wouldn't finally be doing this, right? What's the point, right? This one-off hangout. We're not dating. I see you, I talk to you, I don't hear from you for a month. It's fine, but don't ask me to make a priority of that when I have things to do, things to try, things to work on, you know, whether that's educating myself, upping my production value, upping my performance, thinking about other apps, or, you know, God forbid, adding steps to my posting routine, right? It just seems like better pictures help. Canva, the fact that Canva has templates, that if I just take a moment and build a title onto the picture, you know, I resisted it for so long with the idea like, oh, you know, it's just me experimenting. It's not serious. But then it's like, do you want it to be serious? Because then there's maybe certain things that you can do to make it better. Imagine that. Anyway, I'm gonna hop on over to the treadmill. If you are so inclined, you can check me out over on the Clock app, and I will see you soon here on what? House of Tanya. Yeah, exercise edition.